Welcome to Fostoke Channel!
Greedy Tom. Tom was a little boy who loved food a lot. His parents always tried to warn him not to eat too much to avoid getting an upset stomach. However, whenever Tom saw food, he would forget all the promises he made to his parents. One day, Tom woke up to the strong smell of cooking. His mother and grandmother were preparing holiday dishes. Tom danced with joy. He saw many delicacies in front of him. He said to himself, "What lovely desserts! Delicious! I could eat them all! Every single one! Yummy yum!" Tom's parents usually kept sweets out of his reach, but today everything was laid in front of him. It would be a happy holiday for him. However, when relatives started to arrive to celebrate the holiday, the hosts had to offer them desserts as hospitality. Tom was very upset. He thought to himself, "They came to eat my share! There are too many visitors and they'll eat all the desserts! I must eat them before they finish them off." He started thinking of a way to get all of the desserts. After he finished plotting and talking to himself, he heard his mother on the phone saying, "Yes, of course we'll visit you to celebrate holiday with you. We won't be long. Hopefully we're leaving soon." Tom thought to himself, "Aha! That's it! That's a brilliant idea! I'll stay here. Hopefully my parents will approve of me staying home. I must plan very well." And after much thinking, he said, "Yes, I know exactly what to say. I'll tell Mom that my friends are coming to play with me and celebrate holiday together." He rushed to his mother, excited about his plan, and told her what he planned to say. "But Tom, we're visiting your uncle's house to celebrate holiday with them," said his mother. "I'll go next time. I can't cancel with my friends, Mom. Anyways, we'll be staying home and we won't go outside," said Tom. "What's the matter?" asked Tom's father. The mother told the father the situation, that Tom's friends were coming to celebrate holiday with him and that he wanted to stay home to meet them, even though she promised Uncle's brothers that they would celebrate holiday at their place. "When are your friends coming?" asked his father. "In about half an hour or an hour, I'm not sure exactly," said Tom. "Then we'll wait until they come, and once they leave, we'll go." Tom stuttered and said, No, Dad, you'll be late. They might stay here a long while because their parents are visiting relatives too." "Are you sure about that?" asked his father. "We might be gone for a long time." "Yeah, no problem. You can contact me on the phone to check on me, and then once they leave, I'll let you know," said Tom. The father hesitated at first, but after Tom had convinced him that he was old enough and reliable enough, and after he reassured his father over and over again that everything would be all right, his father agreed to go and leave him at home to be with his friends. Before leaving, Tom's mother gave him some tips, none of which he remembered because he was too preoccupied with his dessert dishes, which would be at his disposal after they left. His father said to him, "If you have any problems, you should call us without a second thought, and hopefully we'll be with you in next to no time." Tom said goodbye to his parents, and after his mother got in the car, she gestured to him to go inside and close the door. That was exactly what he wanted to do. He closed the door and jumped for joy, as he now had the whole house to himself. "Now I have an important mission to attend to, and that is to start tasting these yummy desserts. I'll tell my parents that my friends are the ones who ate them all." And he then smiled victoriously. He started to devour every dish he loved while saying to himself, "How delicious! How tasty! Why are you hiding all this goodness from me, parents?" The more he ate, the more he craved. He ate one piece after the other and continued, "How long have I been deprived of these desserts? Too long! Oh, how delicious! All desserts are delicious!" He lost control and his gluttony took charge. "All desserts are delicious!" he repeated loudly and burst into laughter. He sat on the floor and finished one serving after another until he got thirsty and then drank just enough water to finish off what was left. After he finished all of the different desserts that had been laid out on the table, he wanted to get up and find what his mother had hid in the cabinets. Oddly, he wasn't able to do so, and he continued to sit on the ground, feeling groggy. He said,
Not now, Tom. You'll sleep after you've had enough. You've finished the mamoul, but now to the chocolate and the dragier.
He knew exactly where his mother hid the chocolate, so he went quickly but heavily to the kitchen. He searched the cabinets but couldn't find any at first.
I'm sure Mom hid them in the higher cabinets.
So he brought a chair and stood on it to reach the cabinet, but he couldn't reach it. He got down and pondered about how to get there. He didn't have a ladder.
I'll bring the small table and I'll get what I want.
Nothing stopped him from getting his way. He took the little table and put it on the chair, thinking they were steady enough. He stood on the table and it wiggled under his feet, but all he cared about was the candy stash hiding in the cabinet.
I won't stop. Only a little left and I shall get what I want. I'm not afraid of the shakiness of the table shaking,
he said, smacking his lips. He stretched out his hand towards the cabinet and opened it, but the table beneath him was shaking badly. He finally reached the bag and forgot about the shaky table because he was so overjoyed. He let go of the cabinet door that he was holding onto, and in a matter of seconds, he fell on the floor. The chair slid and the small table broke. Tom was soon unconscious on the kitchen floor. After a long while, he opened his eyes and saw himself in a blue room. He couldn't remember where he was. He looked around and realized this was not his home. He raised his hand, but it was tied. He tried to lift his foot as well, but it was covered with white gypsum plaster. But he felt great pain and shouted, "Ugh!" He heard a faint whimpering voice. "Thank God you're all right. Don't move, my son. This is not good for you now." His mother's voice was sad, and her eyes were red from sleeplessness. She kissed him on his forehead and said, "The doctor will be here soon to make sure you're okay, and your father will be happy that you're awake."
"Mom, my head hurts,"
said Tom. His mother, trying hard to repress her tears, replied, "You got a cut on the back of your head from the fall." He tried to remember.
"Why am I in the hospital? Why does it hurt all over my body? How long have I been here?"
His mother replied, "It's been 4 days. Thank God you woke up." Tom was surprised to hear that at first, but then he suddenly remembered how he lied to his parents in order to get the desserts. He also remembered how the shaking table did not worry him. He could still hear the sound of the table breaking and the chairs sliding. He then remembered how he hit his head on the cabinet door, which was still open.
"All that for candy. Why did I do all that?"
He rebuked himself, and the tears started to flow down his cheeks. His mother put her hand on his head and said, "Don't be sad. What matters is that you're all right. I'm a little upset with your friends, however. Why didn't they come? Maybe if they had come, none of that would have happened." He cried more and said to his mother,
"Mother, it was... they...
"What, son? Did they cancel?"
Oh my God, Mother believes me. I was the one who told the lie. She's so sweet,"
he said with a faint voice and started to cry again, this time louder and louder. And then he said,
"Mom, I lied to you. My friends did not call me. It was all for the candy."
He hung his head in shame. So your father's expectations were right. He felt something suspicious. And if it wasn't for his suspicion, you would have laid there bleeding and we wouldn't have arrived on time.
I don't get it, Mom.
Your father told me that after we left, he wasn't sure you were telling the truth. He suspected that you made up the whole story in order to stay home alone. So we went to visit our neighbor, Mr. Henry. And when we left, he returned home to check on you. He rang the doorbell, but didn't get any response. And since you didn't open the door, he felt suspicious and went around the house to the kitchen door and saw blood on the floor. He got very worried and broke down the kitchen door. Mr. Henry called us, and when we rushed to you, you were unconscious, said his mother with tears running down her cheeks. Tom was moved by his mother's state and impressed by his father's wisdom. The neighbors called the ambulance. We were so scared for you. We couldn't move, but it was reassuring that your heart was still beating, she added. Soon there was a knock on the door, and the doctor entered. He greeted Tom and his mother with a smile. At last, you're awake. It seems the desserts had quite the effect on you. Thankfully, you're no longer in critical condition, but you'll have to wear this cast on your arm and leg for 3 months. Then we'll work on your strength. You'll be fine, just follow the instructions. And no sweets. You'll have to eat a variety of different food. At that moment, there was a knock on the door, and Tom's father came in. Tom couldn't look his father in the eye. The doctor gave Tom's parents written instructions as they thanked him, and he left, closing the door behind him. Tom continued to stay silent. He still couldn't look his father in the eye. But his father remained composed, even though he was still angry. Tom burst down in a fit of tears.
Mom, Dad, I'm sorry. I owe you an apology. My love for food made me blind to my own safety, and my gluttony made me lie to get those desserts. It all caused you so much grief. Please forgive me.
And he continued crying until he was able to speak. His father felt he was tired, so he said, Let's not talk about that right now. You need rest.
Dad, I'm really sorry. I'm ashamed that I lied to you. I promise I won't do it again. I promise I'll listen to all of your advice. Please forgive me. I won't be obsessed with food anymore.
I hope this was a lesson for you, and that you'll be honest with us from here on in. You should be able to confide in us about everything you want, but at the same time, you should hear us out first so we can discuss things together and decide on what's best for you. His father gently reached for Tom's healthy hand and held it tightly, and then finally looked him directly in the eyes. And from his eyes, Tom's father knew that Tom had agreed on every word and learned his lesson. Tom stayed in the hospital for 2 more weeks, and finally he was released to go home. He still had the plaster on, as the doctor had ordered to keep it on for 3 months. Tom learned to tolerate the pain and be patient with the food he had to eat. He didn't ask for much, like the doctor advised him, and because he was staying at home, he became closer to his parents. He'd read stories with them and have discussions and listen to their opinions, and he'd learn from them and they'd learn from him. Life around Tom became more beautiful, and he didn't notice that he even became slim. Food was no longer his biggest concern because he had things to occupy him. Whenever he thought about desserts, he would resort to reading what he liked to read or watching kids' movies, which his father would take him to, and he wouldn't even think about eating. Tom felt his parents endured a lot for his sake, and he had to offer them all he could to please them because they only cared for his happiness. Whenever he remembered this incident, he still felt sad, but nonetheless, he looked on the bright side and realized that he had become a new, better person. The end.
If you like this story, don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye!